This is the Our Voice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. This podcast was created with you in mind. On Our Voice 360, we'll give you inspiration, sports, business and leadership tips, Black history, and entertainment. This is a show built from our perspectives. So if you're ready to be entertained, inspired, laugh a little, be informed, and enlightened, tune in now to Our Voice 360. Let's go! Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our ways. I'm your man, Chad Bumgarner, one half of the host. I have with me my man, Pete Hunt.
What's good, family?
All right, Pete, with that, let's go ahead and get into it.
And as always, our podcast is brought to you by Elect Graphics and Photography. Allow your visions to become reality. And CDB Consulting. Great leadership equals great results. How are you leading?
And as always, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you like what you hear, if there's a topic that you want to hear us discuss, or if you've got some concerns about the show, whatever it is, we want to hear about it. We are here to discuss topics that concern us and our people. So if there's something you want to hear or anything of that sort, please do not hesitate to contact us at our email at ourvoice360@gmail.com. That's ourvoice360@gmail.com. All right, folks, we're going to get into it today. Two topics today, but they are meaty enough to carry us through our segment today. I'll tell you that. The first one is kind of dicey. It's a little touchy, but we're going to touch on it because he is us. So we're going to talk about Bill Cosby and him being released from jail and all the things that are surrounding him. I know that he's looking at writing another book and he's looking to go on tour. So there's a lot of support for Bill Cosby, but also there's a lot of backlash about Bill Cosby. So we're going to touch on that. And then not as always, but we're also going to touch on Miss Sha'Carri Richardson, the young lady out of LSU who shocked the world, breaking records with the 100-meter and so on. And she got dinged for her off the field or off the track activities. So we're going to touch on that. There's some people, I was listening to the radio the other day, and it's a mixed bag. Some saying, hey, she broke the rules, she needs to abide by it. And then there's some that are like, hey, that's a bit much. Those rules need to be re-examined, so on and so forth. Without further ado, let's go ahead, Pete. Let's get into it. So let's back up for a little bit. We're talking about Bill Cosby, okay? So he was put in jail roughly about a year or two ago. He was convicted for, I guess, drugging women against their will or having his way, if you will, against their will, giving them drugs or quaaludes or whatever. And so the big controversy, you and I talked off air. Well, actually, we talked the other day about that situation, and specifically the conversation that Mark Lamont Hill with Black News and Judge Joe Brown, their conversation about Bill Cosby and his situation. So it's real touchy. You've got a lot of people that are kind of upset because, these women waited 30, 40, even 50 years, to come out about Bill Cosby. And what do you think is I don't want to say is the answer, but how do you look at this? Because excuse me, I can kind of see both sides of the story in a way, but at the end of the day, it's and it's just me. I know I'm gonna catch some heat for it, but it's how I see it. It's how I feel. I mean, these women even back then were old enough to know the effects of quaaludes and what they would do to their bodies because, like Joe Brown was saying, you had a lot of groupies back in the day that loved to party with the stars, and they would come back time and time again. So these quaaludes and other drugs, they weren't new. It wasn't like somebody forced them down their throat. They were willing to take these drugs. But now, at the same time, after they've been taken, does it give allegedly Bill the right to have his way with them.
Right.
And a lot of people are saying, when your mind is altered like that, you can't make a rational decision.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you're at a party, drugs are being given, what these drugs do to you, because this ain't your first rodeo.
Right.
So do you still do it? So Bill Cosby, what's your take, man?
Just piggybacking on what you just said, and that lie therein lies the problem. Okay, these women taking these drugs, okay, that are on their own will and doing it, but it's the after effect. Were they taken advantage of? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
And these women feel that they were taken advantage of by Bill Cosby after the party and after whatever took place and the drugs that were taken, they felt that they were taken advantage of by Bill Cosby. And we don't know. We weren't there. We weren't in the vicinity of what was going on. And so I it's a tough situation, man. It's a tough situation to expound upon because like you said, you have to be responsible when you're going to these parties and taking these drugs or doing whatever. But on the other side, Bill Cosby has to know that, hey, these women are high, whatever, and they may not be able to make their own decision on yes or no, I want to have sex with you, and this, that, and the third. So was it consensual? That's where the rubber meets the road. And
But here's the deal.
okay,
Maybe not in all situations, but
mm-hmm,
in a lot of the situations,
mm-hmm,
some of these women kept coming back. That's my understanding. They
mm-hmm,
kept coming back. And
true,
then it's excuse me. And then you have situations where like the infamous Mike Tyson. If I'm calling you at 2:30 in the morning to come over to party, what makes you think this man is not thinking about having some kind of relations? Now, one woman said she went over because she wanted to, she really wanted a part in a movie or a show or, whatever. But my thing is, some of this stuff is like just using your brain and being common and having common sense. Now,
mm-hmm,
again, I know I'm gonna get some backlash for this, but it's how I see it. It's no different than I'm telling my 18-year-old who's about to go off to college in the fall.
mm-hmm,
And I'm telling her, I said, when you're in an environment and you don't know these people, you shouldn't take mind altering products,
mm-hmm,
whether it's liquor and or drugs,
right,
because you don't know these people. You can't trust these people.
mm-hmm,
So why would you put yourself in that situation? No, they don't have the right to take advantage of you. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
agree,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
but that's not the world that we live in. We don't live in a world of morality, and true judgment.
mm-hmm,
We just don't. There are a bunch of wolves and foxes out there that cannot wait to catch a sheep by himself disoriented so they can attack. And that's what I'm telling. And that's what I've told her. I'm like, some people do not care. A lot of people do not care. If they
mm-hmm,
catch you, you're a beautiful young girl. If they catch you at a party or somewhere and you're drunk and you don't know right from wrong, up from down, inside from
mm-hmm,
out, you pretty likely may be taken advantage of.
mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair, but life is not fair. So don't put yourself in those situations. And that's the same thing I'm thinking in this situation. But like Judge Brown said, in those days, that was a culture. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. That
Mm-hmm.
was a culture. And a lot of these young girls kept coming back, party after party after party. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you keep putting yourself in these situations, thinking everybody around you is going to use moral judgment and be like, okay, she's not coherent. Somebody take it to the back room and put a blanket over her, let her sleep it off, and we'll wake her in the morning. Or somebody call her a cab, and we'll get her home. You don't have people like that nowadays. Not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Most people do not care.
But still, but in that, and I understand what you're saying, but in that, it's still wrong. by the
Of course,
person
I agree.
who's doing it.
I agree.
And like I said, we weren't there.
Right.
And so
This is all hearsay.
and it's so far back and it's so long ago. Not saying that there's a time limit on when you should come out. No, not saying that. But it just looks suspicious when you wait 50, 40, 30, 20 years to finally come out. And it doesn't look good at for anybody involved. It
Right.
doesn't look good for
Right. Nobody
anybody
really
involved.
wins.
Nobody, there's no win.
Right.
There's all losers in this
Mm-hmm.
situation. You know what I'm saying? Especially for the women or the young women at that time. If this did take place, wow. I mean, you have to feel for them. I mean, even though they at that time responsible, and if they kept partying, whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
and if they were taken advantage of, you have to feel for them. Just like you were just mentioning your daughter. I mean, whether if she put herself in a situation that was bad and something, God forbid, happens to her, guess what? I'm gonna feel bad because you know what I'm saying that situation happened to her. So like I said, this is a very touchy situation, and by Bill Cosby getting off on a technicality makes it look super bad on him because it's like, okay, from the people who um are saying they don't like the decision because
But
it
see,
was a
they have
tech
to understand it wasn't his fault. The
exactly.
DA did not do his due
E-
diligence.
exactly right. Exactly right. And from what I've gathered, that the reason why it went to a civil suit was because of conflicting stories.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't tie down,
Right.
stories enough that this is what the DA was saying, that he could not tie down the stories enough that if it went to trial, they could get a conviction.
Would they have a chance? Yeah,
Yeah,
because that was the
exactly.
one thing, Pete. Because you had I'm estimating, so y'all don't hold me to this, but I think I want to say they had close to like 50 women
Hmm.
come out with their stories,
Hmm.
but the DA only focused on that one main lady.
Hmm.
So if you've got 50 stories, but you only want to focus on one, what you know what I'm saying? What is that saying? Is that
Yeah.
is that saying that these women just don't remember anymore? Are they? Or is it saying that some of them are lying? Because that's happened before.
Emmett
That
Till.
that has happened
Okay.
before.
Yeah. Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
that has happened
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why
Mhm.
this subject is so hard, because you want to believe the women, but you have a few trifling ones that lied and made that man, not necessarily Bill Cosby, but just in general, go through so much hell because you lied because you couldn't stand him. You hated him. So you wanted to pin something on him that wasn't true. Now, again, I'm not talking about Bill Cosby and this main witness. I'm just saying in general, this has happened before, lying about being taken advantage of. So the first thing is, now a lot of women are saying, when a woman tells you that, you need to believe her. You need to believe her. And I want to believe her. But you got these outliers over here, or these,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
that have
Yeah.
really tainted this
Mhm.
situation. You know what I'm
Yeah. I
saying?
mean,
Because generally, no one wants to come up and lie about being taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying?
mhm. And like I said, the biggest example that that's the most famous example is like I said, Emmett Till for black folk. Is Emmett Till. The white woman, said he whistled at her or something to that effect, and then they basically, well, no, they drug him and
They
hung him,
did, yeah.
and yeah. So I mean, and then come to find, then years later, what's not long ago, the woman,
On her
well,
deathbed, if I'm not
she was on,
mistaken.
yeah, she was on her deathbed and confessed that Emmett Till did none of the things that she said he did.
Hmm.
I mean,
Well,
we can go back
Mike
to
Tyson.
Mike Tyson, I guess. I don't know if that was really even resolved or even said that, one way or the other. So, but then, you can go back as far as, black cities and black towns being burnt down because some woman said that, this young black man raped me, and then, we think of Rosewood
Mm-hmm.
and black cities that were burned down and black folk killed over a lie. And I get that. But on the other hand, you have to take the woman at her word, because I think as men we have to, in a way. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
At first,
Mm-hmm.
until everything is deciphered and whatever, and brought to trial.
Mm-hmm.
Because from my perspective, if my wife or my granddaughter would come to me and say, some man, touched me in the wrong way, inappropriately, or did X, Y, and Z, or this, that, and the third, guess what?
You can believe him off the rip.
Yeah, off the rip.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
believing. You see what I'm saying?
I agree. Yep.
I'm believing them off the rip, and then I'm gonna go handle some business.
But I'm glad you said that, because that's how I'm trying to look at this story. I'm trying to insert my wife and my daughters in this story.
Right.
As far as Bill Cosby's situation is going on. So I definitely would be a believer right off the rip until everything was, brought to light or whatever. But let me ask you this. Should there be a time limit on when things should be brought up?
And
see, that's touchy too, because again, I insert my wife and my kids into this situation.
I don't think so. I don't think so. If you can come with the facts of what happened, when it happened, yada yada, X, Y, and Z.
You have to be able to prove this in court should you want to take it, and that's going to be hard.
Exactly right. It's going to be hard to especially 40, 50 years later. But I mean, in this case with Bill Cosby, after it became a civil trial, and basically the DA said, if you admit to giving these women drugs, X, Y, and Z, and you party with these women, okay, we can do the civil suit. And see, that was the problem.
But that gave that testimony also was supposed to give him immunity, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. So, and therein lies the technicality, and how he got off was because if the DA said, if you basically say that you gave these women these drugs, and you partied with these women, I don't think that he ever said that he raped them, did he? I don't think he ever said that.
He just said he provided the drugs. Right.
He provided the drugs.
So that right there, Pete, that right there, because if I can provide soda at a party, I can provide chips and snack at a party. That does not mean I'm forcing it down your throat. And of course, I'm playing the devil's advocate, because I want people to listen to this and get and try to see both sides. That's why we're having this conversation. We want to have an intelligent conversation, and we don't want to be one-sided.
Right.
So I can provide, like I said, I can provide chips and soda and cake at a party. That does not mean I'm forcing it down their throat. That does not mean I pulled a Rick James and tied them up and forced them to do things against their will. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But but going back to what you said, the problem lies in after the drugs were taken.
Right.
Were they able to give consent?
Exactly.
Now let me say this. I have been reading some posts on social media about this, and it's funny because I shouldn't say it's funny. It's interesting because a lot of women were responding, saying that even though you're on this drug, you can give consent. Just like when you're drunk, you know what's going on. Unless you're to the point where you can't walk and you can't see, you know what's going on. You can give consent. Now, you may not be strong enough to like fight or whatever, but you know if you want that dude to do whatever or not, you're able to say yay or nay. So I thought that was very interesting, because there was a lot of women that were speaking up on Bill Cosby's defense. or behalf.
Mm-hmm.
So I really didn't expect to see that, but it was a lot of women, especially black women, that were saying, no, a lot of times, unless you just blitzed,
Yeah,
you know what you're
or
doing.
passed out, or
Right,
or
right.
whatever.
You know
Yeah.
what you're doing. You're able to say yay or nay. You
Mm-hmm.
you are. Let's not pretend.
Mm-hmm.
This is something you wanted to do, and it didn't turn out the way you wanted, and now you mad.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that element.
Yeah, yeah. It could possibly be that element also. I mean, who's to say? Like I said, that was 40, 50 years
50,
ago.
yeah,
Years ago.
exactly.
So I mean, you know what I'm saying? And we can't discount uh any of these women's stories and just just pass them off
Not at
as
all. Let me be clear. We cannot. You are
yeah,
exactly
yeah,
right.
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. We can't just pass these women's stories because I mean if it did happen or whatever, that's a very traumatic experience. That's extremely, and a lot of women, as we both know, a lot of women are, things happen to them in that way, get raped or sexually assaulted or whatever. It's hard for women to come out and
Hmm.
say, or go to the police and say. So I mean, I understand that totally
Yeah, it's
from
intimidating. It's
yeah
embarrassing.
from the woman's perspective, yeah,
Right,
for
right,
sure. But I think it was just the situation where, and it was so much fire and backlash was because it wasn't on him actually being saying that he was innocent. It
right.
was he was released because of a technicality because he said because in the civil trial if you admit to X, Y, and Z, you have immunity to be tried again.
Hmm.
But the DA that eventually won for the state, that was basically one of his running points that I'm going to get
Mm,
Bill Cosby. That was one of his,
right.
things that that he campaigned on. So when you're overzealous like that, you find yourself in a position where I'm not sure if he didn't read the documents
I think it was
or
greed. He knew he couldn't go
yeah,
back because, like you said, that's what he campaigned on.
yeah, I don't know if it was what it was, but if you don't read the documents clearly state that he's immune to any more prosecution. That's what if you do this, you will not go back to trial again. That was pretty
So, see, the
such an
people that are pissed off should really be mad at him
yeah,
because now Bill is safe from going back to trial about this matter.
exactly. And in all honesty, shouldn't have went to trial to begin with, criminal trial to begin with,
Criminal trial, right, right.
because in those civil papers was he had immunity.
Well, didn't he say he'd rather go to jail than do something because he knew he was innocent? He said, I'd rather serve every day than the I can't remember. I don't want to paraphrase. I don't want to mess this up. So I can't remember. I need to go
But
back and look at that. But nonetheless, it is
but
a go ahead.
and also a lot of Bill Cosby, and I think a lot of this with him going to prison was karma. Because for a while there, Bill Cosby went on a Black People Ain't Nothing tour.
I almost forgot about that, Pete. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and
He
that's
did.
why a lot of people, black folk, are upset
Oh, we
because
don't forget.
yeah, because we don't forget you saying on going on stage and saying you black people this and you black
Y'all need to
people
pick your pants up and
y'all
y'all
need to
need to.
do this. Yeah, as black
Hmm.
people, you need to like you are not like we talked off air the other day,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
you're not black.
Right, right.
So you have the nerve to chastise black folk and not include yourself.
Because
Like
we're the
you're
reason why you are where you are.
bruh, let me tell you, like you're holier than thou, and then this knocks you off your little pedestal that you on. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah, because you were on a serious tour. I mean, going from city to city and town to town, and I mean, was like, you black people need to do this and you black people need to do that, and you young black men, y'all ain't nothing, and you go around here making babies and yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, come on, brother.
Right.
What are you saying? Instead of uplifting, and trying to be positive and telling these young men, okay, look, this is what you do, X, Y, and Z.
This is how
I'm
we
yeah,
can get further as a people.
exactly, exactly, and for me, it was just off. It was just very, very interesting, as you say, to for him to now all of a sudden be in the pickle that he's in after you went on a years of chastising black people
Right.
about the things that you are not doing correctly. So a lot of the angst and anger is all towards him after this decision is also that. It's also that. And that's why black people, we don't forget stuff, man.
No, we don't.
And,
We are like
and-
elephants. We have a
yeah,
long
yeah,
memory.
yeah. You are one of those people that you degraded your own people, but
Right.
for what cost? For what cost? And I mean, and it's cool that you give $1 million to Temple University and HBCUs and yada
Right.
yada yada.
Right.
But then on the other side of your mouth, you're degrading black folk. You
Because
know
we
what
are
I'm saying?
one group of people who do not care how much money you have and who you are. We will check you.
Yeah, no
We
doubt.
don't care. You can come to the cookout. You could have just won the Super Bowl, or you could have just won Wimbledon and come to the cookout. We don't care.
Yeah, and
Do not care.
and my thing is, was this some of his points valid? Sure he
Of
has some
course,
valid.
but see, the thing is,
It's your
you
delivery.
right, and the
It,
thing is, you siloed yourself.
hmm
You didn't
Oh, that's
incorporate
good. That
yourself.
say that again. Say that again, brother. That woo.
I said Bill siloed himself.
Right,
He
right.
took himself out of the picture. And see, it's funny because if you study your history, MLK did the exact opposite. That's why he was so beloved.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we,
Mm-hmm.
our, us.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we need to come together. We need to stop X, Y, and Z, and we need to start A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get together. See, it was all inclusive.
Right.
MLK was all inclusive. Bill siloed himself. Y'all, you, they. And I can only imagine how some of the people in the audience was looking at him like, this man has lost his mind. Is he serious? It's like an old man just ranting on stage. And it's like
and if you
a
remember
bitter old grandfather.
Yeah,
You know
and if you remember that time, that was one of the biggest things that black folk was like, whoa, bro, hold on now.
Right.
Now, we get your philanthropy and all this other, but hold on with all the, you and y'all and all this other stuff. But
the black folks will tell you quick,
yeah,
we grown.
yeah, exactly.
Talk to us like that.
Exactly. Yeah, take some of that bass out your voice. Talk to me in treble. You talk to me in
that wind
treble.
out your chest.
Yeah.
Pardon?
But yeah, man, and it's just some people have to be humbled.
Yeah.
And he and coming out of this, Bill Cosby may not even be humbled. He may not even, because I got a feeling right now that I see a Netflix special. I feel a lot.
Oh yeah, he about to make a lot of his money back.
Yeah, he going to make some coin because of course he gonna write a book and folk gonna buy it and he gonna have a Netflix special. Probably going back on you black people need to do this, that, and the third. Probably
now that right there, Pete, I beg to differ with you on that. I think this situation has kind of brought him down a little bit.
No, maybe in stature.
Because
I'm talking about himself, how he feels about himself. That's what I'm saying, as far as his arrogance with him, his arrogance, because he is a very arrogant man. I mean, if you've heard the story about him and D.L. Hughley and why D.L. Hughley doesn't care too much for Bill Cosby, go to YouTube and just look at, use your Googles and search D.L. Hughley and Bill Cosby and what happened to D.L. Hughley in their interaction on a radio show, and how arrogant that Bill Cosby was. Oh, wow. And how arrogant Bill Cosby is and how much power that he thinks he can wield, which at that time he did.
I was about to say, when you got money and a little bit of power, it corrupts.
And at that time, he had a little power. I mean, actually he had a lot of power.
He had a lot of power.
He had a lot of power because of him being Bill Cosby.
America's dad is what they called him.
Yeah. That's what they used to call him. He ain't that no more. And so And you know, because if you look at social media, black folk is to the point where they like, we even watch the Cosby Show. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I honestly, regardless of what happened, I don't, because that shaped my life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That
I mean,
shaped my thinking.
yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I
Seeing
understand their
that
anger,
anger.
but
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
not
yeah,
forget
yeah.
what that man did with that show to black people. He let us see that we
Hmm.
can be more than what we saw within our immediate environment. So I understand it's a bitter pill. I understand if all this stuff did happen, but you can't knock what that man did for black people on TV.
Yeah, yeah. That's for
On
sure.
TV.
Yeah, yeah. So, I hope for in this situation, this jail time that he served, I hope he uh was able to reflect and come out of this more humble.
Hmm.
I doubt it very seriously that he did, but I mean, I mean, who's to say? But I mean, it's just this is just a tough situation because of the stature of the person, the years in between,
Hmm.
and just it's just a tough situation. But again, he was not found innocent. So
Right.
I mean, we have to look at that. He was not found innocent. He was released on a technicality. So there may be possibly some truth to these women's stories or that woman's story or whatever happened. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a tough situation. And again, I mean, if this did happen, I mean, I feel great sadness and I empathize with these women.
Indeed.
I,
Indeed.
I, I
Because
have
that could have
empathy.
been
Yeah,
our mother, our auntie, or
exactly.
so I
Yeah, yeah.
I agree.
I have great empathy for those women, and so I mean, that's about all I can say about it. Yeah, it's tough. It's
It
tough.
is.
Yeah.
It is. All right. Well, let's sprint on over. See how I did that. Uh,
Transition.
right. So, Sha'Carri, Richardson, the
Yeah,
sprinter out of LSU, that's torching the track,
yeah. She's
making
tortured.
people say her name.
Yeah, say my name. That's what she said.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what she said.
Earning that respect.
Hmm.
Um, she made a mistake,
Hmm.
as we all do in life.
Hmm.
And it's like I told my daughter, we were talking about this situation. I said, the funny thing about life is the only school where you get the test first and then the lesson afterwards. School is where you get the
Okay,
lesson first
okay,
and then you
okay,
take the test.
okay, brother.
You
Speak that wisdom,
know
brother.
what I'm saying? So I'm like, I tell her, I said, my daughter, that is, oh, well, all of
Yeah,
them really. I have
yeah.
three. And
Hmm.
I tell them, I said, life is the only school that gives you the test first and then you
Hmm.
learn the lesson.
Right,
And
right.
I always tell them, I said, they get so mad because they still in that stage where it's just black and white, right and wrong. And I'm like, or no, Dad, that's not fair. Or, oh man, that's so unfair. And I'm like, I need y'all to stop saying that
Hmm.
because I need you to understand that life is not fair.
Nope.
You
To no
have to
one.
take what's been given and make the best of it, or figure out how to make it work for you.
Right.
Will you fall down when you get punched in the gut? Of course you will. But the
Hmm.
key is to get back up. What did I learn from that?
Right.
What did I learn from that?
Right.
Because if you don't learn from it, you're gonna go through it again.
Right.
So
Exactly
learn
right.
from it. And Sha'Carri, excuse me, Sha'Carri, Richardson. I like the way she's handling this. I
Hmm.
like the way she's responding,
Hmm.
to these reporters, because I know some of them don't have good intention. They're trying to get her riled and bring that.
Right.
Where's she from? Dallas, right?
Yeah,
Or
somewhere in
Houston?
Texas. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
They're
yes.
trying to
Yeah.
bring that Dallas out of her, that Houston out of her, whichever one she's from. But she's rising to the occasion, and I love that about her.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
now, because okay, let's just go into it. So she was smoking marijuana,
Hmm.
but she made the claim that she was doing that because her mother passed recently, and that was one of her ways of coping.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
so but at the same time, she has been banned or put on probation for a month and she's not allowed to run the 100 meters in the Tokyo Olympics because of this ban. And now there's a backlash about should she be able to run or not. And I was watching last night. It was interesting. I was watching Cuomo and Bob Costas talk about this, and it's weird because Bob was saying she should be able to run.
Yeah, and she should. No, she has the. Let me stop you right there.
Yes, sir.
She has the ability to run, but the United States track team didn't select her for the 4x100 relay. So after the 30 days, the only event she would have missed are, I think, the 100 and the 200.
Mm-hmm.
So she was still available to run on the 4x100 relay.
Mm-hmm.
And they chose not to put her on the team. So she still could have ran. But it would have just been the relays.
But
it would have been the hunt. Go ahead.
No. Just real quick. Bill Acosta was saying that she could have ran, and then they could have placed the ban afterwards.
Okay. But they didn't do that.
I didn't know. But see, that's the thing. I didn't know they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that because I was talking a couple of days ago off air, and we were talking about because I was asking him like, well, Michael Phelps was a weed head, and you were like, yeah, but he got dealt with too. He lost sponsors.
But the thing is though, the difference between and everybody keeps bringing up Michael Phelps, which is totally different from Miss Richardson.
How so? Enlighten me.
Because he never tested positive.
Oh.
He never tested positive. It was just a picture.
Okay.
See, and people are not going back and doing their research. She tested positive for marijuana, which is a banned drug by what is it, Wasada? I think it's Wasada. And he never tested positive.
Right.
They just saw him with that bong.
Right.
And he was smoking that gas. And then he got the ban after that.
But the thing is, nobody knew when that picture was taken.
But he never, and that's fine. But he never tested positive.
Right.
That's the point. That's the big difference. Now,
okay.
if he would have tested positive,
right.
Now we're talking a whole different ball game.
Indeed.
But she tested positive while they were running, while they were in trials. So again, that's the rule. It's a banned substance.
Indeed.
Whether it enhances your performance or not, that's not even a question.
The problem is it was banned.
It's the banned substance.
Right.
You can't smoke it. You can't. We don't care what you. And even in that, she could have went to the Olympic Committee and said, "I need a medical. What is it called? A medical.
The medical card." So you can
where you can circumvent. Well, what is not a medical? Is it a medical release or medical whatever? Mm-hmm. Where she could have told them, look, my mother just passed. I need something to cope. Can I smoke this weed? She could have went up front and asked them. Honestly, for real.
Pete, I know. I was just looking at your face. Can I smoke this week?
Yeah, real talk. I mean, she could have got a medical release.
Indeed.
For that.
Right.
Instead of just, and at the time my mama passed, I don't care what's going on.
Right.
So I'm going to blaze this earth. That's my mama. So I ain't thinking about going to the Olympic Committee and doing X, Y, and Z. I got to put my mama in the ground.
Right.
So I don't care nothing about none of this.
Indeed.
So I'm good to go blaze this herb and smoke a little bit. But even after that, she still could have went to the Olympic Committee and been like, okay, my mama just passed. I smoked some weed. Can I get a medical release, medical whatever? Well,
but see, and that's the thing. And I let me preface by saying I understand what you're saying, Pete, and I agree. But we talking about, I don't know, 19, 20-year-old. So
don't matter.
I get that, but my thing is the coaching and the staff around her should have been able to advise her. That's my point.
Yeah.
To help her out. There's no reason why she should have been in this situation unless, I take that back. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they did.
That's what I'm saying. Did she tell them?
Right.
If she didn't tell her coaches,
right?
The coaches can't help if they don't know.
That's true. And she probably and she didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, and there's no way they would have let they said they would have
Right.
like go take this drug test and and just let her take the drug test without going to the Olympic Committee or whatever or WASADA or whoever USADA, excuse me, or whoever made this decision without going to them first. You see what I'm saying? On her behalf.
Right.
On her behalf.
Yeah, you're right.
So again, the people that's trying to talk about Michael Phelps, two totally different situations. He never tested positive. She did. A picture of him showed him smoking that gas or whatever. She tested positive.
Right. Big difference.
Like I said, let us not forget, he was suspended for 3 months. She should have been minimum 3 months. They cut hers to 30 days.
They cut hers to 30 days. Yeah. So they really helped her out. Right.
It actually really helped her out. So she could run in the relay, because they already knew if they suspended her 30 days, she was going to miss the 100 and 200. So they gave her opportunity. Maybe if they choose her for that last spot, or one of those two last spots, that she could run in 100, 4x100. They didn't choose her. So guess what? She's not running this year. And it's sad.
So she's not running in anything in the Olympics.
Not to my knowledge. Yeah, not to my knowledge, because I don't think she does any events other than 100, 200. I could be mistaken.
4x1. Yeah, those were her events. Yeah.
And those were her events. And the 4x1.
Oh, wow.
So if they didn't choose her for the 4x1, she's not running at all.
And she's the fastest in the world right now, and she won't be at the Olympics. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the little thing that like I tell my player, my basketball guys. It's little things. It's the little things that, I mean, and she was grieving because of her mother, and we all get that. Them folk don't care nothing about that.
They don't. Rules are rules.
Rules are rules. Them folk
I agree.
And I know folk are out here talking about, well, they need to change the rules. Okay, if they change the rules, fine.
See, you can't listen to folk like that, because they just talking out of anger and frustration. Yeah, and I understand that. Yeah. But when you come out of your cloud of anger, you it's just like this one dude on the radio was saying. He was like, the rules are the rules. If you smoke weed, you can't come to work high.
Exactly.
What make you think she can, get on the track when it's a banned substance? It's banned for you to come to work high, but it's okay for her to run high. On the biggest platform in the world. He said, "Come on, folks. Rules are the rules. You can't do that." He said, "I feel for her too. A mother Pat, I get that. But rules are rules, man. And she's got to abide by it. So
and so many folk just talking about that. They were unfair. No, they weren't. That's the rules. Not. Please tell me the situation where a rule was put in place, and especially in the Olympics, and they didn't do anything as far as banned substance. Russia still can't come to the Olympics.
I was just about to say Russia. Russia got caught on some doping years ago.
And they still get right. You ain't seen Russia in years. Anybody has been caught with steroids or any kind of performance enhancement, they up out the paint.
Yeah, that was Justin, the sprinter. Justin, I can't remember his name.
Justin.
Not Galt. I don't know why I want to say Galt.
Yeah, Galt is. And that was Willie Galt.
Yeah.
And he's back too. And then he's back now too. He's still running.
Yeah.
And I think he made the Olympic team. What is Justin's name? I'm gonna look it up real quick. But he was
he was banned for like a year, right? Or something like that.
Like 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think he got caught multiple times.
Right. So I know. Gatlin, that's what it is.
Justin Gatlin. Yeah, and like I said, he's redeemed himself, and he's still running, and he's still running fast, though.
He look good. He looks good.
He's still running fast, and he's past the age of track speed, but he still got it.
Still got it.
Yeah. But she. I mean, I hate it for her. I hate that she's not going to be able to run, but it is what it is. I mean, she has to, accept the and which, like you said, she has handled it with grace.
She has.
She hasn't, acted crazy or, in these interviews that she had, she hasn't, lashed out or
Or
anything. And
going to social media and acted a
yeah,
fool,
yeah,
which I hate to see.
yeah, she accepted it.
Right.
I did it. I knew what I was doing. And see, the key is she said, I knew what I was doing when I was doing it. So she knew what the rules were.
See that statement right there? That
Yeah.
sounds really immature, because if you knew what you was doing, what make you think that they was not gonna test you as a black woman breaking records? What makes you think they're not gonna test you? Come on, man.
And for me, this has nothing to do with race at all. I don't care who it was. If you make a statement, I knew what I was doing when I was doing it. I mean, okay.
Well, I'm making it as a race because it's always we have to work twice as hard to be equal. If you stand out above everybody else just a little bit, you're gonna be scrutinized. Period.
True.
But being on that platform, knowing that you have this platform, you really have to have your mind, your wits about you at all times, because you never know what's coming from the right or left to take you out of that off that platform or out of that spotlight.
But it was self-inflicted, though.
And that's my point. It's like self-awareness is what I'm saying. Self-awareness.
Yeah.
I'm the fastest chick on the planet right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at me.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I walk and talk on the straight line.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. It's
Exactly.
self-awareness. It's like, I know my mom just died. I'm trying to run this race. This stuff is hard. I need to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she should have done. I mean, maybe she did. I don't know. So let me preface that I don't want nobody coming for me. But it just seems like, I need to talk to somebody. I need to get my wits about me, because this is hard on me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I need to figure out what I can do, because I have this pressure on the track, because, I'm the best.
Yeah.
And you have an ultimate high and an ultimate low simultaneously. That's hard to deal with.
Yeah.
That is hard to deal with.
And while you are in the midst of trying to make the Olympic team, I mean, we're in the midst of trials, and my mama passed, and so I mean, I totally understand from her perspective of her coping mechanism and whatever it was, the weed or whatever that made her cope with the situation. But on the other hand, them folk ain't playing with them rules. They have never they have never played with them rules. No. And so I mean, I really do. I feel bad for her. I really do. I really feel bad for her. But again, that's one of those banned substances. Whether you feel it's perform enhancing or not, that's not the point. Whether
she knew what she was doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she was not treated unfairly. I mean, actually, they were actually lenient on her.
Right, because it should have been 90 days.
Because it should have been 90 days. Because that off the rip, you get caught for the first time, it's 90 days off the rip. That's why Michael Phelps got 90 days. Even though he didn't test positive, it was a bad look.
Right.
It was a bad look. Even though he didn't test positive, he got banned for 90 days, and he lost his biggest endorsers. Hey, I mean, wow. So, again, I hate it for the young sister, but it is what it is.
But you know what? And I'm going off on a tangent. I'll just go ahead and say it. The one thing I don't like about this situation is Nike's take on this. It's so freaking weird.
Yeah.
So Nike decided to stay with Sha'Carri through her mishap, which I commend them for on one end. But then they're gonna drop Allison Felix because she was pregnant.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? And then she comes back and burns up the track, excuse me. In what, Pete?
In her own clothing line.
In her own clothing line. If that ain't a middle finger to somebody, I don't know what is.
That's it.
And I don't understand the reason behind the Nike endorsement team. I don't get it.
I mean,
that would have been great to stay with her to show resilience. Women are resilient. Women are strong. Women are.
But at that time, Allison Felix they were considering her on the backside of her career, and she wasn't. Okay. She wasn't running the time that she was previously, because guess what? She was pregnant.
Right, right. So
She was
just
pregnant.
imagine. Look
So
at what happened after she dropped the. Well, I shouldn't say that because women might be offended. Look what happened after she had the kid.
you,
It's back to business.
let's go. Let's go to work.
It's like she never had the kid. It's back to business. She's back
Yeah.
on the track, killing it.
Yeah.
And I just think that Nike was a little narrow-minded in their decision to do that because that really could have been a great marketing scheme.
Bro, but it's like anything. When you think somebody's on their last leg and they're not running the times, and then something happens to them, in this case, pregnancy. Guess what? We can go ahead and I don't think she's gonna do anything anyway. So we're gonna go ahead put her to pasture and go ahead and release her. But with Miss Richardson, she's what 22, 23. She got a lot of Olympics to go, bro. Yeah. She got at least 3 more in them.
Mm-hmm.
At the top of her game, she got at least 3 more in them. So hey, I'm gonna go hang on to this fast one right here, because we can do things with her, and that's business. That's how it is.
It is.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And was it unfair to Allison Felix? Of course it was. Of course it was, because she's been one of their biggest female athletes for the longest. But again, long in the tooth as far as track is concerned, not running good times. Nah, we can go ahead and let her go.
But Colin Kaepernick ain't been in the league in a few years now. He still got an endorsement.
But that's different though. They trying to.
Oh, that's the social activist.
Yeah. They trying to stand with the black man. So I mean, that how they do, bro. That's business, man.
Well, I'll say this. Kudos to to Felix for coming back strong. And I would really ask all the female listeners if you would support her, brand. It's not hard to find. You just Google her name. Her products are going to show up. I think it's a lot of athletic wear. I think it's like leggings and sneakers and tops and stuff like that. Really nice stuff, man. I thought about getting something for my wife. So please support her if you can. And let's show people that the worst thing you can do is not bet on black. I'll leave that alone.
There you go. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave that at that. That's our word for the day. We're going to leave it on that. Don't bet against black. I like that.
Every time, man. Every time. We are resilient people, man. So Pete, I think that's it, man. I think that's all we got today, man. That was pretty good though. That was enough.
Yeah, no doubt.
Any last words before I give the Bible quote or thought of the day, the week?
Hey man, protect yourself at all times, black folk. We out here, man, and everybody ain't on our side. So hey, look out for each other, protect yourself.
And also, y'all, I know we said it last week, but I'm gonna say it again. Really, you need to invest in this book called From Babylon to Timbuktu.
Timbuktu. Woo.
It is it's an eye opener, and it's full of research.
Mm-hmm.
This is not opinion written. This is full of research and documentation. So, please take some time and invest in yourself and learn a little bit about your history and where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll leave that there.
Yeah. Whew, that book is tough, buddy. Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give the Bible quote of the week or verse of the week, and it's coming from Philippians 4. I know yesterday I was reading and I said Philippians, and my daughter said, "Wait a minute, Dad, say that again."
All right, Pastor.
Yeah, she liked to catch me slipping, so I said, "All right, you got me." It's Philippians 4, verse 8, and it reads, "And now, brothers and sisters, one final thing: fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise." So stay positive, folks, and know that God is your everything. Everything that you have, everything that you move, everything that you do, how you move, how you be, it's coming from God. So understand where your everything comes from. All right, Pete, I think that's it, man. Another one in the can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for tuning in to Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our ways. Stay blessed. Be safe. We're out. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when a new show drops. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to advertise or become a sponsor, please send an email to ourvoice360@gmail.com with your inquiry. We'll connect with you as soon as possible in hopes of creating a great partnership. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.